My name is Xuxing Lai Zhang and I am 17. I think I was about 7 when I moved to England. I decided to move to England because I was misbehaved. My mum decided to move me to England because I was misbehaved. And I got into the fight and I was sent someone to hospital. She thought moving to England would probably give me a new life and meet new people. My mum travelled with me for the first year and my sister came 2 years later. I feel that travelling with my family is a good thing since we're moving to a new place and I won't know anyone there other than my family. I need someone there for me. At first, for the first 2 months, it was quite hard to adjust to life in England because it's a whole new place and a whole new language. I had no idea what to say, what I could say. I couldn't communicate with anyone. And after a few months of being in England, I managed to learn the English language, and I carried on learning it onwards and onwards. Now I am fluent in English and I can hold a conversation with someone. I miss my friends. I miss my friends a lot. My best friend is still in China, and but I also miss going out with my friends. Every weekend we'd go out and go to karaoke or go to the internet cafe and play some games, or just go out and play basketball or table tennis. So being in England had an effect on my social life. I feel that there is a greater sense of freedom in England than there is in China, because in China we are always restricted to what we can have, restricted to what we can do, restricted to what we can do on the internet and what we can look at. I mean, for example, the social websites of Twitter and Facebook, they are not allowed. They're restricted. They're restricted from the law in China. But in England they aren't. Growing up as a child, I was not able to experience a life of a child in the Western country, because for the games consoles like PlayStation were not allowed in China. There's a big difference in food, in my opinion, from China and England. In England, the food is cooked separately. For example, if you had the English breakfast, the mushrooms, the beans, tomatoes, the bacons, the bread, eggs are all cooked differently. Whereas in China, our diet mainly consists of rice, and when we do have food, when we do make our own food, we have them all bunched together. Like if we have meat and vegetables, we put together in the pan and fry it and then serve it. I'm really indifferent about opinion in my opinion, on either culture or either food cultures, because I like them both. I like the English plain, basic, really just separate dishes, but then in China there's also the mixed dishes giving different tastes. The English ones, you can give the original taste of each different food. There is a very big difference in art in China and England. In China we have an art form called Maopi. That's an art form that's really heavily based on watercolours and painting with a brush. But these pictures aren't just any sort of painting, they are mainly of wildlife, the environment, historic poems. Every estate in China has a statue, which is a big part of Chinese architecture, statue of a lion or a dragon or a phoenix. Whereas in England, it's just basic bricks and basic, like basic housing, just basic house, and they don't really have anything about nothing adventurous like a dragon or a lion or a phoenix around in each estate to introduce them to this estate. I think if England were to incorporate some of these architectures from China to England, I reckon England will probably be a really, really interesting place to visit for many other countries. in China the fashion mainly, or the folk fashion mainly involves clothing with patterns, because it's been a part of Chinese culture for thousands of years. For example, like the emperors and empresses from thousands of years ago always wore robes or dresses with patterns on. Whereas in England it's mainly just not really historic based, it's just plain clothing, modern clothing, and not really a lot of pattern in it, not really a lot of story in it. I think I prefer to live in England because the culture is nice. The weather's not as good as China, but every now and then it can get better and it's not too hot. Also, the education here is not as strict as China is, and I feel I can be more relaxed here in England than I can be in China.